hearing problem, but it wasn't something that you could notice. But I remember one morning I woke up and I was working in CBD. You know, CBD is loud with taxi, hooting and stuff like that. So what happened was when my left ear went deaf, I didn't actually realize that I was deaf up until I had to scratch my ear. So when you scratch your ear, you block it, and next thing I knew, I was deaf. You know, imagine you waking up, going to work, and the next thing you find out that you're deaf now.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's conversation is a special one for me because it's not just with a guest, it's with a brother I've known since primary school. Back then, most Fridays after school, he'd come to my house, we would chill. I introduced him to rice and beans and sugar. It's a famous Congolese dish. Then once a term or something, we'd get ready for this party called the disco. Anyone that went to Robin Hills remembers the disco. We played football together, we sat in the same classes, and we shared dreams about the future without even knowing what it would look like. Fast forward almost 20 years, we're almost 30. No longer just boys from the block, but men trying to make a difference in societies. He's gone from a 2,500 Rand startup to building one of the fastest growing sneaker care brands in the country. So today we're diving into the story, the grind, the fatherhood, the vision on In Conversation with Rudy Samuel. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome my guest, Lesego Gumede.
What an intro, brother. Thank you so much, man. What an honor to be here, man.
Of course, man. What's up? It's been a long time coming to have you here. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on my platform.
I appreciate the invite.
You're doing so well. You're doing so well. So let's start with the origins. Some of my guests may not know you, or some of my viewers may not know you. Can you please tell us a bit about yourself?
My name is Lesego Gumede, as you've mentioned. I'm a person living with a disability, a bilateral hearing loss. So 1 year is actually deaf, and the other year I'm still running on like 60% battery power. So eventually I might go deaf. I'm a sneaker cleaner in short, but we also manufacture certified sneaker cleaning products. We run everything on technology that we have built, and I'm just a chill guy, you know. I'm that guy next door, you know. I'm just a chill guy, you know. I love playing around, and I'm gifted.
No, 100%, yeah,
definitely.
So about your disability, obviously, when we were younger, we didn't know, we weren't exposed to that. So now you're getting older. One ear is officially, you know, shut, and then the other ear is, you know, going
what happened
down.
was
what happened?
Growing up, I've always had a hearing problem, but it wasn't something that you could notice. But I remember one morning I woke up and I was working in CBD. You know, CBD is loud with taxi, hooting and stuff like that. So what happened was when my left ear went deaf, I didn't actually realize that it was deaf up until I had to scratch my ear. So when you scratch your ear, you block it. And next thing I knew, I was deaf. You know, imagine you waking up, going to work, and the next thing you find out that you're deaf now. And it really messed me up because I remember, I think after 3 months or so, I resigned. COVID hit, people are wearing masks. It's difficult to conversate with anyone without reading their lips. And, you know, I was like, okay, I might go deaf and I'm not happy with the position that I'm at in life. So eventually I just resigned, and next thing I knew, I had nothing to do. So I was like, okay, let's start this sneaker cleaning thing.
Before we continue,
a bit of a different twist. Yeah.
Okay. Before we continue, I want to give a special shout out to the newest sponsors of In Conversation with Rudy Samuel, Mzuri Coffee, are found in Walter Freedom Park. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll put their details in the description box. It's an honor and a privilege for me because I've been working hard. I've been doing this for 5 years, and I officially have a sponsor, although it's like a 6-month contract. But I want to just highlight that hard work does pay off. And today we're here. You know, I used to have the Valpre bottles. Now I've got personalized water. We got coffee and stuff. So thank you very much to Mzuri Coffee. You guys will be seeing them a lot on my platforms as we work with this partnership. So shout out to Mzuri Coffee. Back to the interview. So when you were seated at home after resigning, how did you come up with the idea of opening a sneaker cleaning company?
It started when I was still at work. My boss always wore clean shoes, you know. So I was a little bit, so I've always been a sneakerhead, you know. I've always loved a pair of shoes, but I've never knew how to actually take care of shoes. So up until I had to realize, ask a question. I asked the question, how do you keep your sneakers fresh? And she said to me that there's a person that she pays 50 rand to clean a pair. So right there, that was the moment, you know. I was reading a book, and it's a 50-cent book. He says, you know, your mind captures everything that you see, but the information is not gonna be used at that very moment. So that's exactly what happened. When I was at home, now I'm just unemployed. I don't know what to do now because I resigned from my job. That moment that I had with my boss came back up, and I remember one night I just woke up and I designed our logo, first draft. That's how the logo is today. Nothing changed. So I started realizing that, okay, to do something, especially with just one goal, it means it's a calling, you know, something is calling you towards it.
Love that.
So we got that right. Next thing I knew, you know, I was paying myself 100 rand a month for like 4 months, 4 months or 5 months.
Yeah.
And we grew it to what it is, 14 employees today.
14 employees today. Oh, LSG, as we used to call him. So when did you realize that this business is no longer a side hustle?
Since day one. Since day one, actually. It is a good question.
Thank you.
You know, what did I realize? That this is not a side hustle. The effort, no, the vision. You know, I think the vision speaks a lot. You know, when you close your eyes, you can see how the process is and how it's supposed to end. You know, we're still in the process. We're not actually at the output as yet. But I realized at that moment that, okay, whenever I close my eyes, I can see what we're doing and then where we're going to go and how we're going to get there. So I think that's the moment that it changed for me, that, okay, we are actually in business. And once we opened our first store after 9 months of actually starting the whole business, that was a big risk. But then it shows that, you know, you actually, there's something here, you're cooking something. My mom wasn't proud of having a sneaker cleaner at home.
Of course.
You know, the school fees wasn't friendly. You know, I came to your house a number of times because we didn't have much. But she wasn't supportive at first. But then she eventually told me that, listen, everybody cleans shoes, but you're doing it with a very different twist. You know, that's why we moved to manufacturing sneaker cleaning products and now building systems. So yeah, now we are actually about to be franchisable.
Okay, so you said you opened your first store. So how many stores do you have now? 2
currently. We actually had, if I tell you the whole,
please go ahead. Go ahead.
After 9 months, we opened our first store. It was empty, actually, super empty. We only had money to do furniture. You know, cleaning stations were not there. The equipment that we used, it was literally nothing. You know, there's a picture on my Facebook where I had shared a story about it. And we had another opportunity through the mall owners, through this thing they call ICWRS. So they give township entrepreneurs, you know, mall space. After, I think, roughly 5 months, 6 months, they gave us that opportunity. We opened. It didn't work out because the shop was just too small for us for, you know, the work that we do. We need a larger space. We closed it, and then after that, we ended up opening Soshanguve branch, and that's why we totaled to 14 employees now. So it's roughly, I think, 8 or 7 at Mabopani, and then the rest are also at Sosha.
So what is a usual day like at work for you before the employees, for you? Because I see you got 2 phones here and you're worried if one phone's going to ring during the interview. So what's a usual work day like for you?
You know, I'm wearing different hats in business, you know, especially you building a business that is growing at this pace and understanding that now the sneaker culture is popping up. People are actually realizing it. And if you Google everything, we are a part of the top 3 conversation now, you know, amongst the top sneaker cleaning businesses. You know, everybody cleans shoes. Everybody wants to clean shoes. But how many people manufacture their own sneaker cleaning products? How many people have decided to actually build a system that's going to power the whole business? How many people are strictly township? In fact, to do more research about this, we're the only township-based South African brand operating in 2 or more stores strictly in the township. So we have the blueprint for the township. So my day is it's super crazy. There's marketing, you know. There's I have to sell products. I have to, you know, test, refine the system. There's employees. We have people that have never worked before. Do you know how difficult it is to shape a person, to make them realize that, okay, we are at a workplace. There's targets to meet. There's this and this and this. You know, there's occupational health and safety that they have to follow. There's a number of this. It's super difficult. So it's crazy. You go to Bath, you're thinking about the business. You're driving on the road, you're thinking about the business. So every minute counts in a day. Even though there are 24 hours, I'm trying to make it 26. Not sleeping enough, working every minute of the day. So it's really crazy. But we are part of the process. It is all part of the process. I know where we're going. I'm gonna rest eventually.
Eventually. So when you say you are strictly township-based, what does that mean for you? Considering where you come from, I think it's Mabopane in Pretoria. What does it mean for you, Lesego, to be a township-based company?
Growing up in Johannesburg actually shaped how I view life. Visiting your family, you telling me about your dad being here and here, it has shaped a lot of things that when I went back to Pretoria, it is like you are in a different neighborhood. You can see that this is not what I was seeing in Johannesburg. In townships, our fathers are not there. Whereas I'm in Johannesburg, I would see different families all together. Back in high school, back in primary, you would see parents coming to support us. But in the township, that's something, it's not a norm. So when I came back home, I'm speaking English with the gents. The gents are not getting me right. I had a friend who was just clueless about what he needs to do in life. And that was just another factor that influenced the decision to start a township brand. And the fact that I understood how people speak, what influences people to buy, and what do they actually need to actually take out money out of the pocket, I think it influenced the decision of being a township brand. And I'm so glad to say that we are actually connected with the community. We know a lot of people now. People see my car driving past. They're so proud to see. People are so proud of what we do. They know that we have taken guys. People are not getting robbed now because they're cleaning shoes.
Because they're working.
Now they're cleaning shoes. So it means a lot for us. It really does mean a lot for us. For me as a person,
So with all of that being said, what are the actual challenges that you face, not only as a business, but also a business in the township, where maybe we can say people's mindsets are still being formed and trained?
We are far from the spotlight. I think we do a lot of beautiful things that deserve to be put at the forefront, doing a lot of inspirational things. Number one, I'm a person with a disability. I can't hear. Phone calls are difficult. We could have been very far, being able to speak on the phone, but it's super difficult. We don't have any spotlight, it also damages your confidence as a person, that you're doing so much. You pop online, you see FNB or whatever, Nedbank is doing a competition, and you see the person that won the competition is not even near 10% of what you have achieved and where you're going. So those are some of the challenges that we face in the township. People, especially the sneaker cleaning business, I've done a number of applications whereby you look at the email says, unfortunately this, understand? So, it's super difficult to run a business in the township.
So what drives you? Because you've mentioned all these challenges, and I know there's more. Because of time, you can't share. But what drives you? What keeps you going and saying, no matter what, I'm going to get there?
My disability, my hearing. Always say to myself, if I stop doing what I do now, what am I going to do? There's as much as people can say people with disabilities are given opportunities, that is not actually true. We just not given enough opportunities. Where I was working before, I was so good at my job. I loved my job, but I understood that to get to a position that I can sustain life, it's going to take me 10 years. Do I have 10 years with my ears? We don't know. I might go deaf tomorrow, and then what am I going to do? So in 4 years, we've achieved so much because I knew that maybe in those 4 years, I might go deaf. I have to push. And that's why I'm having a conversation with you right now. The business is still open, being ran.
100%. So in your team, are you training anyone to sort of take your position so that you can just oversee everything?
Another good question.
Thank you. This is why I do what I do.
That is actually a good question. Let's start by saying this now. Entrepreneurship is a calling.
Yeah.
You understand? Entrepreneurship is a calling. So as much as you can take somebody and train them, they would never have that founder drive. You understand? So I can train you to do operations. That's why I'm here. There's a person who's able to do that. But taking the business into where it needs to go, I still have to be involved. And also the other issue that we have in the township is people don't believe in themselves. You know, people just don't believe that they can achieve great things. They just don't. So it becomes difficult to train a person who doesn't have that self-belief. So you get to a point that you just want to, let me just do it. And that's exactly what's happening. But I'm trying my best.
Yeah, I think you have to be very intentional about the stuff that you pick. So with your disability and all the challenges that you face, still being on the topic of staff, how do you maintain and how do you manage your staff? How do you train them? How do you, show them the vision? How do you keep on motivating them? Because you say in the township, people maybe don't really believe in themselves. So how do you motivate your staff? Because fine, you can be from the township, but you're working here for me now. And my vision is far. And I need you guys to help me go far. So how do you work with your staff?
I read books. I try to tell them to read books because there's a lot of inspiration there, Have a role model in life. Have somebody that you say, I want to be like this person. And a lot of times when I come to the shops, it's important to, push the culture. I've always said to my team, now we got to a point that we can actually, pay, the same as ShopRite, that kind of stuff. So you have to understand that the culture that we have in here is definitely not like next door. It might be the bosses next door are going to be so harsh on you that you're going to resign 3 days later. Here we're trying to have a culture that, you're speaking to the boss here, we can grow together. We can, once you get in head office, once you move, that you've been with the business, you understand the business. It should be easy for you to come here. But there's a culture that you need to have, and people have to understand that you're an easy person to speak to. Voice out your opinions. What problems are we facing? Suggest them to me. I will work around the numbers and see if we can afford the solution. So, allow people to speak in the business, number one.
And how do you go on about getting funding? Obviously, it's money you make from the business, but how do you get extra money? And are you even looking for investors?
Honestly speaking, it's not, I don't have a solid answer to that because I'm still in search for funding, solid funding we still, rolling the dice, as I can say. We're still rolling the dice, the business can still fail if you don't meet our targets maybe a month or two from now. Getting funding is super difficult, When I put a sneaker laundromat in the description of what we do, immediately, there's just a stigma around it. People are just not willing to fund that, ICT companies are being funded easily. That's why we had to build our own system so that we can make our portfolio look a little bit beautiful also. Okay, they run on their own system, they manufacture products, they also sneaker cleaning business. This is a unique lineup, it's not only a sneaker laundromat, but getting funding is another conversation that I'm still in search for an answer also. It's not easy to get funding. It's only now that I'm doing a lot of applications for awards, pitching competition. I've never actually sat down on a panel to pitch my business, to say that this is what we do, this is not what we do, how we doing it, our revenue. I've never been given that opportunity. Nothing.
No, it's coming. Don't worry. It's coming. So you keep talking about systems. What do you actually mean by systems? What is that in terms of your business?
Systems allow me to be here. I think a lot of people build businesses that are not sustainable. I know a couple of people that have built a similar business, but then they have to do the work on a daily basis. I've gradually grown into, being able to manage 2 shops. So you hear every inspirational person, an actor or whatever, or business person, they will always speak about systems. And I had to ask myself, what is a system? A system is what you implement and give like an SOP you give to your staff members, and they follow according to that book. But also we had to influence our systems with technology. I can access my books while I'm at home after just waking up. I can see potential complaints, how many shoes we have cleaned, why these shoes are late, and this through the system that we have built.
Nice.
So it was important because it prevents a lot of things. Theft, one of the most important things is customers, allowing the people to have a voice, and we had to create a system to allow people to have a voice, because you're gonna tell your staff member that how are there any complaints today, and then even if there was a complaint, they're gonna have to protect themselves and say there wasn't any. So we had to find a way to actually bypass that and allow the customer to actually voice it out. We have a customer care line for that also. So systems play a huge role. That's why we managed to open 2 stores. By replicating what we're doing in store 1 into store 2. Now we're looking at doing store 3, further test the system and see where we can actually break and modify again. So there are your brains of your business. Basically, it's your brains, but in a book format that they can read. Yeah.
And how do you deal? Because you can't be in 2 places at once. So if you're at one store, the other store, you're not there. How do you deal with security in terms of everything? Because you have people's shoes in there. Maybe you lock up for the next day, you're going to clean in the morning. How do you protect your staff? How do you protect the shoes? How do you protect the systems, the technology? How do you protect it all?
In the township, it's townships are dangerous, as they always say. The whole idea of us operating in centers was because of security. We didn't want to have the liability of losing people's shoes. And surprisingly, that's not something we do. We don't lose people's shoes. The system prevents that from happening. We lock up. One of our stores is next to ShopRite, actually. ShopRite is like literally right here.
Oh, visibility, no?
Visibility is there, you understand? And the other one is also in the same, shopping center. So we had to open stores in shopping centers for security. And we lock up. Security is safe. The people that we serve are the people that are actually doing crimes, I believe. So we save from that also because they know they need these boys to clean my shoes. They wear their LVs, we clean the shoes. I'm telling you, bro. Everywhere I go, I feel so safe because people love what we do. They love our story and they can see that we actually putting effort. We're not doing this for the sake of money. Obviously, we want money, but it's more of providing service, showing people that we actually care and we can achieve things. Shouldn't be only a white person that's able to do a business and
100%
bring it to the township, and next they don't even understand our language. Understand? So that's exactly what's happening.
So I do have international viewers, right? And there is a stigma towards South Africa. This is my home. I was born and raised here. This is what I know. And there is a stigma to South Africa, and then an even worse stigma about the township. Could you educate the viewers on the positives about the township? Because you are running a successful business in the township. 2 stores, 3, 4, 5 are coming. How are you still able to run a store in the township? Just give us some insight on to the positives about the townships.
There's money there for starters, but people are price sensitive. Number 1, people are just price sensitive. And I feel you should be able to connect with the people. It's only now that I've been told about storytelling. So the township, I can't speak for all townships, but for the one that I'm from,
which is where are you from? Tell us.
Mabopane.
There we go.
Yeah, Mabopane, Pretoria. It's very far from the spotlight. I don't know any celebrities that actually have come out of my hood. Hopefully, you get me. So it's a matter of connecting with the people, understanding their needs, and actually fulfilling them at the right price. Because townships are just price sensitive. ShopRite and Checkers is the same thing. It's the same thing, but you compare the prices, they're not the same because they understand what's happening. Understand? So there is money to be made, but also respect us, provide us a service that we actually need, a product that we actually need. So yeah, people should come through.
Of course. So can you tell us a little bit about the I forgot what you call it, the sneaker cleaning detergents that you are manufacturing and producing? How do you do it? Where do you do it? And what's it for?
There's a crazy story because 3 months in the business, can I just move forward?
Come, of course.
3 months into the business, I realized that we're building something great. I bought a product from another sneaker cleaning brand and they didn't fulfill what we actually needed. I mean, this goes back to when I was saying that this is a calling, to understand that this business has been there before us and you are not happy with their products 3 months into the business. You're seeing something that a lot of people are not seeing. So I realized that we needed to build our own, because we building the business with more value, a value chain. So I met a friend of mine. I knew he was in the detergent business, and we started actually, playing around. Told him what I need. This is what I need. This is what I need. This is what I need the product to be able to do. We built the product. It wasn't 100%. The guy got greedy. The guy got greedy. After that, he opted to try to supply me with the product that we had built together. Didn't work out. Luckily, my girlfriend is in the food industry, and she knew a person that knew a person that knew a person. We connected. We spoke about business, and we manufactured the products. We currently still manufacture at home. They've been tested. Now we're moving towards getting a company to actually, but they need bulk.
Of course.
Yeah, bulk orders. Yeah. So we're trying to get the business to do that for us, so that we can focus only on selling the products and just packaging it. So we manufactured the products, and here we are. We clean 40 pairs a day per store. So, and 99% of the products that most of the things that we use, they're owned by us.
Wow. And what is one big sacrifice you've had to make to keep this business alive?
I think I'm still doing it, paying myself a modest salary, because you have to, put money aside to grow the business. As I said, funding is not coming in as we wanted. So obviously, where's the growth going to come from? The growth is going to come from profits. So we take the profits, we actually reinvest. As I said, there are people that I also have built Sneaker Cleanic. I know a guy who bought a Golf 7. He has one store, it says something, but he was also doing some things on the side. So I was actually doing an introspection. I was like, damn, why am I not buying a Golf 7? And I realized that I'm actually trying to build a sustainable business. That's what I said to my team members. I said, guys, I'm trying to build sustainable employment for everyone. You guys are currently waking up. You don't have a metric certificate. Don't forget, getting a job without this is going to be super difficult. But I'm trying to secure this thing so that, you guarantee that you're going to go to work up until maybe you decide to resign, if that's what you want to do, but not because of we closing down. So I think that's the sacrifice that I'm still making.
Oh, wow. And I met your little Ntwana outside. Talk to me about fatherhood. How has that changed you, elevated you, and how has that changed your mindset?
How has it changed me? It gives you a different perspective. Growing up, this, my father wasn't really there. And one thing I said to myself is, once I have a child, I will struggle for that child. There's nothing wrong with me shopping at Mr. Price or whatever, You see this shirt that I'm wearing, it's that, we brand our own t-shirts. It's very cost effective for that. It's better for me to wear my own brand. I'm not spending a lot on it. So it gives you a different perspective. And then you say that you're going to just struggle for this person. You get motivation from that, and you have fulfillment. Like my mom, I knew, she definitely told me that I'm working for you. I wake up this morning. So that growing up, I had a lot of things. People thought that we living good, but that wasn't actually true, because my mom actually forced for me to be at the same level as others. It's only when I grew up and I started realizing that, oh damn, we're actually struggling a bit here, But she never showed me that, because she had a child that she just had to, work for. So I think that's exactly what's happening.
So what are some lessons you want to teach her for the future and the realities of life?
This is something that I actually told my girl also, that, what I'm building actually for my daughter. I'm building it for her. I wish one day she could pick up the trades of, what it's like to actually wake up and work on your own terms. Even though I work hard, even though I work, I never rest and stuff, but eventually I'm building this thing for her. I was thinking about, You know, Kokasi, in the township, there's this thing of being a chess boss not a good thing. But I can tell you something, you know, the chairman of Sundowns.
Cheese boy.
You go to Kaiser Chiefs.
Cheese boy.
You do get me.
Yeah.
So I think we need to change that and understand that we have to build these things so that our kids can actually live freely, you know, not this thing of waking up in the morning. You know, in the townships, it's not easy. People wake up at 6, 4. They go to work and, you know, month end, there's still nothing. So exactly that.
Okay. And what kind of future do you envision for your company? Because you always say, you know where we're going. I know the process. I know how we're going to get there. What do you actually want for your company?
This, I might say this today, but it might change tomorrow because, you know, conditions change, you know, but we building the business towards franchising. We're trying to have a national footprint. You know, we believe that with the strategy that we use, it works well within the township. But what works in the township can easily replicate in the suburbs. Because number one, everything is being ran on lean pricing. Expenses are lean. We make sure, you know, our pricing really price sensitive. We understand our customers. You know, so we're trying to have a national footprint. You know, get our products on store shelves. You know, store shelves, most stores, you know, franchising. So that's what we're looking at. That's what we're building the business for currently.
And what's one financial principle you have learned that young entrepreneurs must know?
I'm flipping frugal. I hate spending money. Man. I hate spending money. I think that's why we're still here. You know, that's why the business is still here, because we understand that being frugal and not caring about what people say about you, it just shapes how you're gonna grow the business. And as I said about the guy that bought a Golf 7, I was looking at it. I was like, okay, this is a great achievement, but you know, I don't. But you would never know how a person is doing. You can judge from outside, but you would just never know how they do in their game. But frugal, not spend unnecessary things, run everything lean. Make sure that you have cash flow, cash reserves. So that's what we've been building, you know, cash reserves and, you know, investing in our shops, efficiency, making sure that customer experience is always great.
And if you had to give a step-by-step instruction for anyone listening who wants to start a small business, what would you tell them?
Step by step. I love what you do, number one. And for the service industry, you know, somebody's paying you for a service. Think how they would receive the service. You know, put them first, because that's what I had to do. I had to put my customers first. And obviously, people don't actually know how to market. They don't know, you know, who they're marketing to. They're just hoping that people come. You know, they don't do they SWOT analysis. You know,
Yeah, I remember they taught us at school.
They don't do their SWOT analysis, bro. They strengths, the weaknesses, you know. And also, this is actually good advice, by the way. Nah? Think that your business is gonna fail month end, every month. I think if you think like that, you're gonna work harder. You know, you're gonna try to prevent the business from not failing. So I always try to say, you know, I was looking at my sales. I'm like, yo, this is bad. But no, we actually reached our targets. So I think that's the mindset that you have to do. That's why we achieved what we achieved, because I've thought the business was going to fail month end, 30 days later. And 29 days, I knew that I had to throw in marketing. I had to speak to these people. I had to do this. Guys, people are paying us for this. You're not here because it's a job. People are, you know, in townships, people don't have money, but here we are. They're supporting what we do. So understand that you need to provide a service at this level. You know, so think that your business is gonna fail.
Yo, we have reached the end of our interview. I didn't ask any question I planned.
Can you repeat that?
I didn't ask any question that I planned because you just took me on a different level. I had 25 questions.
Okay.
I think I only asked one. So thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I always like to say the future is African, and this is a great example. The future is African. We got so much potential. We got so much that we can do. And here's someone that, regardless of whatever he's going through, he's doing. A couple of days ago, I posted on my WhatsApp saying that there's no excuse. If you want to do something, if you want to achieve something, there's always a way to get it. And we've just seen that firsthand with my dear friend Lesego. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank you for subscribing. I want to thank you for your support. We are almost at 2,000. I think by the time this comes out, we'll be at 2,000 subscribers. So thank you very much. Shout out to the new partner, Mzuri Coffee, for providing us with coffees and water.
Yeah, definitely.
And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. My name is Rudy Samuel, and I'm signing out.